Hello, and welcome to another edition of A Director's Take. Today, our take is going to be on another director. That's right, I have invited Chris Wicklas here to talk to him about what makes him the director that he is, about his style, his choice of cameras and equipment that goes well beyond the technology that I have today. So let's get started. Hey, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, CJ, good to see you. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, well, good. I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking, I've known Chris for a long time. I started out knowing him as a graphic designer, but he really just kind of filled in for that position. 2 or 3 days after I met him again as a drummer. And I think, Chris, that what we ought to do is we ought to start the show off with some of your drumming. What are your thoughts?
There we go.
All right. What do you say you introduce what we're about to see?
Okay, so I play in a classic rock cover band called Joker's Rival, and we stay fairly busy-ish. But during the pandemic and during lockdown, obviously the gigs dried up, so we decided to do a rock from home video. So everybody shot their parts on cell phones or whatever they had, and then just everyone dumped all their footage into a Dropbox, and I cut it all together. So that's what we're gonna see here. You might notice.
All right, fellas, I'm rusty. Let's see how this goes.
Okay, I don't want to take too much time with that because we have so much to go over. But what fun to be able to throw something like that together. It looked like you guys spent a whole afternoon working together. So to hear that it was all done separately, wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I made a little primer for everybody. Film yourself this way, try not to have light behind you, and just kind of gave everyone some tips. And I came out pretty cool. It definitely taxed my computer. Doing all the
Yeah, it works really well. And where can people find this juicy morsel?
So that would be at youtube.com/jokersrival.
Ah, cool.
Pretty sure. Yeah. Or jokersrival.com. Jokersrival.com would probably be the best place to start.
Just in case.
Just in case.
That sounds great. Now, Chris, I've known you for a long time in different roles, but rarely have we ever talked about the fact that you are truly a director, and you even have a regular blog that you offer, or do you call it a video podcast or whatever, or a vlog?
Vlog, yeah.
So what is it like coming up with the process to develop something that you can crank out fairly repetitively, or often, I should say?
Well, that's a pretty relevant question, because it's something that I'm tweaking as much as I can every time I create something, because this is a hobby for me. My wife calls me a professional hobbyist because I have drumming, I have video production things I like to do, I have photography, I roast coffee, like all these things, and I have to take them all to this top level. So for content creation,
we also have to throw in the motorcycle riding.
We got to throw See, that's why I wore the Harley shirt today. Exactly right. So I have all these things that just take up my time and keep me sane and keep me happy, outside of my family, of course, which obviously keeps me sane and happy. Um,
Good comment.
I'll throw that out there. No, cut that out, okay? But no, so for me, my biggest hurdle is just trying to get out of my own way, because I have struggled really hard with perfectionism in the past, and it's held me back in a lot of areas, with music, with drumming, kind of with anything, So what I've really been trying to do with video production stuff is come up with a process that doesn't take forever, keeps it fun, and something that I can work into, you know, all my other responsibilities, my day job and family time and all the things.
Yeah.
The vlogs I've posted so far, I kind of get lost in them, and I pretty much put everything else off to the wayside when I'm working on it. So that's why I'm not as frequent as I would like to be. But
I think we all have a touch of that, right? Once we start in on that creative thing, and when our juices are flowing and we're like, oh, this is exactly what I'm doing, and this is working, and this has to be shifted, and all of a sudden we find ourselves saying, oh my gosh, what time is it? I have totally lost track of time.
Oh wait, I was supposed to go to work. Oops. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but I love it. I love the process, and you and I have talked about this before, where a lot of people that I see doing well on YouTube had a passion to start with about something, coffee roasting, photography, whatever, doing tutorials or teaching or makeup, fashion, whatever. They have a passion, so they start making content with whatever they have, a cell phone, and as their channels grow, then they realize, oh, I got to step up the production piece a little bit. So then they'll start buying gear and lights and microphones and all the things. And I was kind of the opposite, where I just loved the process. So I started getting gear and learning how to use it, learning how to do lighting, learning how to do audio, learning photography, learning video production.
Right.
And then once I kind of learned the things, it was like, well, okay, well, now what? What am I going to make? What am I going to make?
Now I got to do something. Content.
Do something right. So I really like watching vlogs. I think it's fun seeing how other people live their lives. And back way before YouTube, I was making vlogs. Really, I was posting them on my own website. I had like a high 8 camera. And it was just really filming stuff of the kids when they were little and sending the videos off to family that was out of town, So it was vlogging before it was vlogging, right? So this would have been like, early 2000s.
Sure. Well, let's show one of your vlogs. We'll at least show a portion of it, so we have time to still talk about it.
Sure.
But why don't you introduce the one that had all that snow in it?
Oh, right. So I love summer. I love riding my motorcycle. I love doing stuff outside. Winter has always gotten me down. So I was exploring the winter blues and how can I overcome the winter blues. And I had just taken an online Casey Neistat class. I'm a big fan of Casey Neistat. Just his style of vlogging and video production, I think, is unique, and he's kind of the grandfather of that whole genre.
Sure.
And I just always, when I watch his videos, I always wanted to be a fly on the wall of his process. Like, how does he plan this? How does he come up with the shots?
Yeah.
And so I took the class, and he pretty much took us through, him creating 2 videos. It's like really great. So this was my final project for that class. So kind of all the things I learned, I put into this video. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with winter. And right now, I kind of hate it. So like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with winter, and it's gone back a very, very long time. I think a lot of it is tied to the fact that the things I love to do most are things that are done in the summer, outside. Riding my motorcycle, going to baseball games, seeing live music outside. The smell of warm air, walks, hanging out in the yard in the hammock, bonfires, all of those things I do in the summer. But I'm in the house all the time now, and I think I've just built up such a negative connotation towards winter, mostly because I gotta scrape windshields, I have to bundle up before I go for a walk or do anything outside. I miss riding my motorcycle. And it turns out this is a thing called the winter blues. I've never really put a name on it. I've heard that term obviously a million times, but yeah, it's the winter blues. So this is where I spend the bulk of my time. I've been working from home for the past couple of years, sitting at this desk. But then also my hobbies involve me sitting at this desk. Photography, making videos, all those things. But I also have a lot of other hobbies and interests that keep me busy at the house. Taking care of the fish is fun, but next up, it's time to roast some coffee. Coffee roasting's awesome, making big old jars of love. So I think it comes down to this. I just need to find things about winter that make me almost as happy about the things I like about summer. That's what I gotta do. This is the place. This is what we're doing. Something I haven't done since, well...
I was a kiddo.
You were a kiddo. I think this might make me like winter, or I might break myself.
There's children in the way.
I'm gonna try not to kill myself or anybody else. Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Something I just realized, the further you go, the further you have to walk back. Jimmy's laugh coming down the hill might be one of my favorite things ever. Hopefully I do this without taking out Chloe. Woo! Woo! Yeah! Oh! Is this a record? One perk of being a fat guy. That's awesome. It's so awesome.
I gotta say that is just it lifts my spirit to the point where I want to go out and get in the snow.
Oh man, what's funny, CJ, is I'm almost looking forward to winter now.
There you go.
Almost.
Almost.
I've been on a pretty good motorcycle riding tear lately, so I just what's fun about that video is it still makes me smile.
Yeah.
And that style of video, what I like about vlogging, and a lot of the guys I follow that vlog, it's really just documenting their lives so that you can go back later and look at it and go, man, that was a good day.
Yeah.
So going back, watching that again, it's like that was a fun day. That was a fun time. So I have charge. Oh, go ahead. Well,
I was going to say, from a director's perspective, because I tend to look at everything that way. I say to myself, when guys like you vlog, you're actually using principles that are tools that directors use. You have to decide, what is the best thing to capture from that moment? Mm-hmm. How can I put together in a way where it raises the emotions of the viewer watching it?
Yeah.
And also, can it be put together in a way where there's enough story there that people kind of can relive your 4-hour fun in 30 seconds or a minute of time?
Right.
What's your process to build that story?
So what I've actually simplified it a lot over the past maybe year and a half.
Okay.
Like things like that, I planned it, and that was kind of one of the things I picked up from the Casey class too. He wings a lot of his stuff.
Sure.
He's just, he's gotten to the point with practice and experience where he just knows, okay, I need this type of shot, I need this type of shot, I need an establishing shot, I need some detail shots, I need some B-roll, and he's just done it enough to where it's become second nature to him, where me, I'm still trying to get to that point, and that just comes with practice, consistency, and doing it time and time again. But with vlogs, it's really about documenting your day, right?
Okay.
And some of my favorite vloggers, the latest, kind of like my latest guy I really enjoy watching is this guy named Peter Lindgren. He's from Sweden. He has a big YouTube channel, 500,000 plus subscribers, and he's known for camera tutorials, video, B-roll tutorials, things like that, like tech. And he got kind of burnt out on it.
Sure.
But it became his living, So he started this vlog channel to kind of spark the creative juices again. Uh-huh. And all he does is document his day and then tries to cut it into a concise story later. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do. Just film, document, show me, don't tell me is a concept I've been really trying to do lately. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to go to Home Depot and I need to get some bolts and some buckets and some lights. I'm just going to film Home Depot, film me throwing stuff in the cart, and just, I've been trying to just cut it quick and keep it interesting.
Sure.
My goal is when the thing is over, people are surprised it's over. They kind of want more, which I think.
I think some of that, as I've always said about filmmaking, the key is the character development, right? So you as the person, as the star, as well as directing yourself, you're kind of the charisma that the people have to be interested in. So you have to find the angle of your life to tell or share that makes sense from that standpoint. Now, I do know, because I've watched a bunch of your stuff already, I do know that you also got your daughter involved, going up to Volo to check out the Batmobile. So let's take a look at that one. Here we go.
The Batmobile.
The Batmobile.
Holy Volo Auto Museum Batman.
That was a mouthful.
Troy Wicklas.
Hello.
And I each have half days today. So we're going on an adventure, and you're coming with us. Woo! What have we decided to do for our adventure?
Today we're at the Volo Auto Museum.
How long have we been talking about going here?
Since I was like 7.
No time like the present.
I'm 23.
Yeah, 23. So we used to drive by this place all the time on the way to Auntie Kathy, my sister's house.
Yeah.
And they used to have a big, like a Batmobile, like a Michael Keaton era Batmobile, hanging on the sign, which I didn't see the sign, did you?
No, I just saw the car.
Yeah, I'm realizing that as we're inside, we'll probably be wearing masks, which I look like a bandit in my mask.
This car car brand is where the term "it's a doozy" comes from.
Everything about it.
How about it? For $77,000, it could be my color. Oh, look at the mustache.
Chloe,
Yes.
are we having fun?
Yes. Are you having fun?
Yes. We're having an adventure. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
To serve and protect has been rubbed off. I said, I think that this is what I think the future is supposed to look like, but it's technically what the past looks like. Look how it, like, the boat matches the car.
This is the ultimate accessorizing to get the boat to look like the car, right? Instead of, my handbag has to be brown to match my belt, it's important to have your boat look like your car, like exactly. Come on. This is just a whole nother level.
Oh, you gotta get the foot action.
Oh, my knee! So, I'm looking at the Batmobile. I grew up loving the Batmobile. I have the complete original Batman series on DVD. It's the Batmobile. It's the Batmobile.
Well,
that was a great day. That was a fun day. That one was particularly special because my daughter had been living in Miami for 4 years, and she was seeing me vlogging with my other two daughters, and she was a little sad. So it was really cool when she just moved back home and was able to be part of the vlog. So that was a fun day.
That's great. Yeah. So the fact that you two had these little moments of connection actually made for a stronger story, and the fact that you had the goal of seeing the Batmobile was interesting because it's like, okay, it's not here yet. Okay, here's some more cars. Oh, cool. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, it's not here yet.
Right.
And as a director, we always like to put a little question into the person's mind what does the Batmobile look like today? That type of thing.
Right.
And you kind of have to keep on watching to find out what that answer is to that question. And you try to hold off the payoff for the audience as long as you can without getting them to give up and say, nuts to this.
Yeah,
so,
this is too long.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you had enough interest. You had all the old-fashioned cars. You had the TV cars. You had, I don't know, there were so many different categories. I'm trying to reflect back real quick. But the bottom line is there was plenty for us to look at and think through. I mean, the Herman Munster car, oh my gosh.
Right?
That was only in a couple episodes to begin with.
I know.
And yet,
it was so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
The Knight Rider car. I mean, Kit, the Knight Rider car. I mean, we grew up watching those shows.
Oh, by all means. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it seems like it almost seems like our generation was the one that had all these specialty cars for all these different people. And I think what started it off was James Bond. His very first car, he pushes a button and machine guns show up. And from that day forward,
back,
yeah, it was like from that day forward, everybody wanted to see, what's the tricked out car this time around. Because I remember the remote control car that Bond used and the one that went underwater and became a submarine, and great stuff. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
But getting back to directing, when you're self-directing, you were kind of explaining the difference here between trying to capture the moments of the day versus knowing what shots to get so you can tell that story. Do you ever sit down and make a shot list, or do you run it through your head thinking what kinds of shots should you be looking for? What do you do in that process, if anything?
Well, what I've started trying to do, because what used to happen to me was I would document things or try to document things, and then I would come home and try and edit a story together, and I wouldn't have enough stuff. So I have kind of a mental shot list of really just the different types of shots that I need to get, like an establishing shot, like a medium establishing shot, trying to get different, interesting angles. I have a backpack of stuff I bring, so I'll have a tripod, set the tripod up and walk away from it and then have to come back and get it,
Yeah, sure.
Like that. But just trying to keep it more interesting, really, because I have a pretty short attention span. So if I get bored, likely other people are getting bored,
Yeah, kind of works that way.
Yeah.
In this day and age, I know when I was a kid, I was talking to a guy that worked for WGN television at the time. He was working on the Bozo Circus. I don't know if you remember those days or not.
Love those.
But when I was talking to him, I was like, how long can you stay in a shot without having to change it up? And how long are people interested before the activity or the show has to re-engage the audience in some way, shape, or form? And he was basically saying, a lot of people can get away with 8 to 10 minutes worth of a segment before the audience starts to get bored.
Yeah.
And then when I was in college, we were trained that you now have 5 to 8 minutes. And the other day I was at a conference and they said, you have 3 seconds to get someone's attention on YouTube.
Think about that. Because now you have the retention rate, the audience retention rate. They give you all this metrics that you can follow on YouTube. But yeah, in the world of TikTok and Instagram stories, where it's like 15 seconds and people just scroll. Yeah, but there's something to that, though. I mean, if you watch movies from the 40s and 50s, really, I mean, I think a lot of that was because of budget anyway, but you would just have, you would have one shot of it was almost like a play. That's kind of how they filmed movies back then, right? It was like,
it's exactly right.
Shot,
they basically set up the one main camera. Yeah.
and that's just the way it was. But now, you can have all these different cameras, and technology's just made it cheaper and easier to be able to do all of these things. So I don't know. It's good and bad, I guess.
Well, but I
But
like your idea of taking little snippets of different things from a standpoint of variety, sheer variety, right?
yeah,
And I also like the fact that you kind of explore things and experiment. In fact, I have a couple of clips of yours where you were playing around with a. Well, I won't explain the camera. I'll let you explain it after we see a little footage.
okay.
Check this out, folks. It's almost like there's a robot following him or leading him to get the footage. Here we go. Now, I gotta say,
It's like
that
voodoo magic.
it's like, oh my gosh, he's got 3 drones following him and flying around with him.
That's right, because that's super safe. I like to be super safe and just have, FPV drones following me around.
Okay, so why don't you explain what you really did with this?
No, so I just picked up an Insta360 camera just to try and document some rides. And again, I'm always trying to remove barriers to creation and make it easy. So an Insta360 camera, if you're not familiar, it shoots in a 360 bubble. So there's 2 lenses on it, and then there's software that stitches the 2 lenses together. So you have a selfie stick you put on there, and it extends out a couple of feet. And because of the way the software stitches the lenses together, it makes the selfie stick invisible, which that's the voodoo magic right there. So all I did that was like a couple of days after I got it. I was just documenting my ride home from work. So, I threw it. I got the motorcycle kit, so it's got a clamp that you can attach the selfie stick to. So I just attach it to the handlebars, rode for a little bit, pulled over, moved the camera, rode for a little bit. And you don't have to worry about where you point the camera. You just turn it on and go. And then you pick the shots and the angles later.
Yeah.
So all
Fix
of
it
that
in post, as they say.
yeah, and literally you're doing it in post. So those shots you saw, the last shot where it was like I'm going down the road and then the camera whips around to me and starts zooming in, that was all done in post after the fact.
Yeah,
so,
let's take a look at that one more time because
yeah.
To me it's remarkable.
It's almost like you have. It's like the things you. When I see professional motorcycle documentaries, they got a guy following them, in a truck or another car, following these guys around, and that's that type of a shot. I don't have anyone following me around with a truck.
Well, and with the truck,
to
they can't even create that with the truck because they can either lead you or they can, follow you.
Oh, you're right.
Or sometimes it can be on one of your sides. But with yours, you clearly were choosing shots from up and around this 360 dome. And you could choose any direction you wanted the camera to look like it was coming from.
So I'm still trying to come up with a good editing workflow because it can be a little overwhelming because you're pretty much, it takes pressure off in the sense that I don't have to pick my shots ahead of time, sort of, but it's like, you turn the thing on, like if I used to use a GoPro to document things and you'd have the GoPro facing forward. And as you're going down the road, all of a sudden there's something off to the side that you see while you're riding. It's like, oh, I missed that. But
Yeah.
with this 360 camera, you can spin it around and get it. But also, you can use this thing, and so the shot of the bag from behind, I could then, so you export that, and then you could flip it around and get the front, export that. You can just get all these different angles, export them, and then you kind of have a multicam thing you can do and just come up with something really awesome. So it's like you have a cameraman following you around without a cameraman following you around.
Which is a great thing, because as you were talking about your vlogs and stuff, you were basically saying, yeah, you got an idea of how to tell your story shot-wise, but you want to streamline it as much as possible, so you do as little as possible during your activity. And while this is capturing the full 360, or both sides of the 360, I should say, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like you got two bubbles, the front and back bubble of it, right?
Yeah.
As a result, you can, after it's all done and you know about what your story is going to be, you can then go into post. You can pick the shots when you want them, how you want them. Any panning and stuff like that, you're going to choose because you're panning within the bubble for the output. And that's an incredible experience.
It's game changing. And, as I've been digging into tutorials and just kind of seeing how other guys come up with their editing, specifically moto vloggers, because in my head, that's how I want to use this camera.
Sure.
A lot of guys had a hard time because, when 360 cameras first came out, the intent of them was really for virtual reality, because you can export a 360 video just as it is to YouTube. And if you had a VR headset on, or even with your phone, you move the phone around, you can explore the shot, right? And I might try that one time, like just throw the 360 camera on the bike behind me, and just shoot and ride and upload it as it is, and it would be like you were riding with me, and you can just kind of look at whatever you want. That might be kind of neat to try.
By all means.
But it's when you think about the fact that you can be your own cameraman later, it's mind blowing, And so, again, just trying to come up with a workflow with it is where I'm at right now. And I'm having a fun. I got hard drives full of stuff that I've shot that I just need to do something with. That's why I like that snow video so much. Yeah. Because I pulled a lot of old footage that had just been sitting on my hard drive, either
like the shot of I think you had the shot of the baseball game and things like that you threw in.
Yeah, the baseball game and the shot at, my sister lives on Green Bay, so that shot it was neat, and I'm just trying to get out of my own head, and just it's fun. It's so much fun, and I'm at a point now where I'm excited about it and having fun with it again. So getting to consistency is what I'm working towards, but in the context of my already busy life with family and music and all the things, right?
Yeah.
Something's got to give.
Well, since you're so busy, I'm going to let you go. But it's been great having you on here, Chris. I'm glad you were able to share, how directing looks from a vlogger standpoint, because that's something that the viewers certainly are interested in. And I love the behind-the-scenes stories, especially learning about your bubble camera, as I'll call it now.
I like it. It's the bubble cam.
That's right. All right.